There he is, John.
Hey Nick, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, pretty good. Can you
Beautiful.
hear
Well,
me?
yeah, I can hear you great. Mine might be a little choppy because I'm on Wi-Fi, but that's the best that I can do. So we're just gonna have to run it.
No problem, buddy. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Well, thanks for being on. I usually do the housekeeping at the beginning, but I just want to jump right into this because of time. So typically what I do, yeah, I'm sure you've seen these interviews before. I know you have, is I want people to see different, people from different backgrounds, people from different states, countries, languages, whatever. Everyone has a different story. And when we get into this business, we all have our like insecurities, our doubts, why it's not going to work for us, right? I remember for
For sure.
me, for me, it was like, well, yeah, these all, I was going to get into a program and I saw these people that were having success, but I was doing a full-time door-to-door sales job. I had one kid, another one on the way, pregnant wife, car, and I was just like, dude, they're not as busy as me, right? That was my kind of thing. They're not as busy as me. But I've heard other people, they're like, yeah, Nick can do it, but he's done sales, or, this person can do it because they're a man or whatever. And so I like doing these because it just shows people that no matter what, your background is, your insecurities, I call it your yeah, but you can make this work. You can make money doing it. And so that's number one. Number two is, we want to add value. We want somebody on this call is struggling. They're probably in your situation, maybe a business owner. We're going to get into the details. I don't want to spoil it, but maybe a business owner goes to them once, twice, three times. They're thinking about
Yeah,
giving up and they're going to hear this and go, okay, so that's the whole game is like, it's the same thing with business owners, right? If you can always be the person that that give more than you take, people always come back to you. And it's not, people don't care about like how much money you have or whatever. They care about how they feel when you're around them or when they listen to you. So I want to make sure this call that people walk away feeling inspired, people walk away feeling motivated. So that's the whole purpose. So we don't really have a huge I have some questions that I want to ask you, but like for the most part, I just
yep.
want to like get into it. So dude, just tell us the basics. Where you based? Are you still working? If you aren't, what were you doing before? Just give us like the quick rundown on your background.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So I'm in Canada, just outside of Toronto. I am married. I have two kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 16-year-old. So I'm pretty busy. I am working. I'm in the trades. I wear a hard hat and work boots every day. So I'm a pipe fitter, red seal journeyman, and I own a side business that keeps me pretty busy. And you'll like this one. I do foundation repair. So,
As a side business.
so yeah, it was something I was doing before and made some connections when I was doing it, and kind of went off to do the pipe fitting thing. But yeah, just kept that hustle going as well. So I'm busy, man. So I get the what people were saying about being too busy, but it's not. There's no excuse. The hustle's always there, and if you want it, go get it. So
So a couple questions. Number one, what's going on with Drake and Kendrick? I'm just kidding. I'm just
yeah, I
kidding.
don't know,
We don't have
man.
to, I'm kidding. I just, whenever I hear Toronto, I immediately think of like Justin Bieber and Drake. Sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, or Jordan Peterson, right? Those people always come to my mind.
That's yeah. Those
I,
those are the three, I guess. That's all
yeah.
we got right now.
But anyway, no, but let's talk real quick, just to kind of like go off on a tangent. What are your thoughts on the foundation repair business as a niche? Because the problem for me, I got into foundation repair by accident.
Yep.
And it was the most lucky, unlucky thing ever because I got into the right city with, I think, probably a tough niche and it worked, which gave me this false confidence that I could just go into any city. And I didn't have a good formula for picking a good city. And so I went instead, I did one deal that worked, and all of a sudden I'm like, I need to build 50 of these without really testing the niche properly. There's great money in it. The companies are really serious, big companies. They have budgets to spend, but what I found is it's extremely competitive. What are your thoughts on it as a niche for generating leads?
Um, yeah, it's tough. So I'm doing okay with it. because where I live, I'm in a bit of a smaller community. And I think my business relies a little bit more on the Google My Business based on the reviews. The website itself that I have, I'm, maybe top three, and I've put a lot of effort to get to that spot. So, and yeah, the companies, at least in this area, they're all heavily SEO by actual SEO companies. So I wouldn't recommend it, but if there is low hanging fruit, is definitely profitable for sure. But for a beginner, no, I would agree with what you said. It's not what you want to start off with, anyways.
If you can find low-hanging fruit, do it all day long. But the problem
Yeah,
is, guys, is it's like, we always talk, you want to make sure it's high ticket, but then it's like when it gets too high ticket, it becomes a problem. So it's kind of like roofing in the sense of like roofing has so much money in it. Solar has so much money in it that everyone's throwing dollars at marketing, right? Facebook
yeah.
ads, billboards, whatever. Dude, some of these companies have they own internet marketing companies inside the company to manage their different branches. Like they're talking about some big money here. There's venture capital money in this space. Like this is not a small ball. This is big stuff.
No, no, especially I don't do it so much myself because I'm just a one man show as a side business. But if you get into the big jobs, they're talking 40, $50,000 jobs, right? To dig the outside of your house or jackhammer up your basement, and $100,000 jobs. So obviously when there's that type of money on the line, they're gonna go all in with any effort they can to get customers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if there was some low hanging fruit in the foundation repair niche in some small city somewhere, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, that's pretty few and far between, I would think.
It's a tougher one. So anyway, I just want
Yeah.
to know your thoughts on it. I think if I always say this, if you're the one that owns the business or it's a family member, that type of a situation, it's a little different, right? Because they're not going to screw you over. But if you're just doing it to get leads, it's going to be hard to scale up because you're just going to be going against tough competitors. And why? Why would you put yourself through that when there's other low-hanging fruit niches? That's just my opinion, you know?
No, I agree. I didn't choose it myself when I started doing this. I considered it. I looked into it a little bit, but it's across the board. It's too hard. So I kind of took that mentality too. I got to find something else. So I went with concrete as everybody does, and that's worked out pretty well
I love it,
so
bro.
far. So
So
yeah,
are
man.
you doing business like your deal that you got, was it in Canada?
No, in the
The US.
States.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So anyone that's from Canada watching this, you guys have such an interesting position because you are in Canada, right? So you know all the nuances of Canada. You could call throughout Canada and you could be like, yeah, I'm over here, whatever. So people will trust you. But when you call the US, you don't sound like you couldn't tell that you're from Canada. So you guys almost get to double. But if I call Canada, you instantly know I'm from the US because of my
So
accent,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah. No, that was actually a big hang up for me at the beginning because I guess I shouldn't say specifically where, but it's in one of the more southern states of my deal. So there's an obvious accent difference. And I was just like, I'm just gonna push past it. And um yeah, I think it threw a couple people off, but no one really said anything about it, right? And I'm like, well, if you're not gonna mention it, I'm not gonna mention it. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're obviously going in as an outsider, but they don't care. You know what I mean? So
If you can produce results, it doesn't matter. Like they don't care. It's
no,
initially it matters because it's you're trying to get their trust. But if you're coming in giving them value up front and you can get them results, they don't care if you live in your mom's basement. They don't care. They just need at the end of the day, we want to make money, you know? So
yeah,
I think
yeah,
we get
exactly.
hung up on that stuff. Some people I know like we're a very like this is like not even an issue for us, but think about I know there's people from other countries and they get hung up to like, yeah, but I have an accent because I'm from, this part of the world. And it's not, it's only a big deal when you make it a big deal. That's my
Yeah,
honest opinion.
and to be honest, yeah, who's to say I don't live there? They don't know, right? So I could have been from Canada, I moved into the States. They're not gonna call you on that, right? From the first phone call. So that was a hang up I had, but I'm like, just don't even worry about it.
Totally.
So yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So okay, bro, let's talk about so you're doing basically like actual physical hard work, labor, like that's the kind of work you're in, wearing a hard hat,
Yeah.
wearing boots.
Yeah.
How did you find this? Why are you doing like what made you decide to jump into this, this business model, something online, but then specifically ranking around? What made you gravitate towards this?
Few different reasons, I guess. Yeah, well, just wanting different income streams is probably a big one. The fact that I do physical work all day, I don't want to work till I'm 65, 70 doing that. So I'm just kind of looking at the writing that's on the wall and potentially setting myself up in the future. You know what I mean? Even with my side business, that's still a little physical. So I just wanted something just outside of that realm a little bit. And to be honest, believe it or not, this actually interests me, the whole SEO and the business model. I think it's amazing. So when I first kind of heard of it, I never heard of it up to this point. And I heard the whole rank and run thing. Like, that's a genius idea. Like, it's beautiful. So it attracted me, from the get go. And actually, one of your competitors, I won't say who, kind of popped up on my, I think it was Facebook feed. And that's how I got introduced. And then you know how it is. Once you get in the Google algorithm, then you see videos from other people on YouTube and all that. And then your stuff popped up a little more. And what really interested uh, me kind of to you and your system was the ads. I thought that was a great idea, and the leads in advance and all that. And that made a lot more sense than what some of these other guys were preaching, to be honest. And yeah, yeah, no, it was great. So I don't know if that
So
answers it or not.
So yeah, it does. What about this model is attractive to you? Like I
Mhm.
agree. I have my reasons. Everyone has their own reasons. Because why this instead of drop shipping? Why this instead of Amazon store? Like what
Yeah,
the
probably a couple different reasons. I think it's very sticky to the business owner that you're giving them something that they need, and as long as you're doing things on your end, it'd be stupid for them to go elsewhere. So it's almost like you do the work for a month or two to get things set, and then it's set and forget, and then it's repeatable, right? And you can just go find a new person in the same niche and basically just duplicate it. And it seems like you can get results very quickly. Where if you went into a different niche, then you're making a completely different website and all that. So it's very systematic, I suppose. And I've never done drop shipping. I looked at it, but that just looks like a lot of work. You know what I mean? A lot of back end computer stuff and not a lot of profits. The profit margin in this is very good. Obviously you have to pay for ads at the beginning, but once those are gone, it's all profit. So even if you don't have a huge ticket uh, sale price, it's still pretty good. So yeah, it's very attractive that way.
nothing. I think if we're being honest, I hate using the word passive income because I'm a big believer. Like I think people are starting to say this more now, but like nothing's truly passive, like a hundred
No,
percent. That's false. But in terms of like it's by levels, right? And I think that in terms of like this is one of the most passive models I found. Guys, when I tell you that there are websites that I have set up that I don't even know the login to because I
yeah,
set them up on a random Weebly account. I have a couple websites we don't, they're just ranking the deals there, they haven't moved, and our team's like, should we try to find? I'm like, just leave it, like it's just there.
yeah,
The business owner doesn't bug us. It's kind of like if they're not calling whatever. And so I don't know of any other model where you could get a client today and then make $700 to $1,500 per month with a 90% profit margin, and 2 years later you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that business owner. Like that's not even real. You know
no,
what I
you
mean?
can't find that anywhere.
It's not. It's crazy. So I think there's many reasons that everyone has their own, right? But there's a lot of business models that are online. There's a lot of business models that are low barrier to entry, but this one is recurring. This one is extremely passive. And then I think the biggest one for me that I always come back to with this is it's asset based, which you touched on. if
Mm,
you have control. If the business owner cancels tomorrow, you have another 15 options, 5 options, 20 options. If you have leads coming in, there's always a deal to be made. And you have something that you put your work into that you can show for, which you can't say about SEO. You can't say about social media marketing. You can't say about content writing. It just isn't a thing. You're trading your time for dollars. And this one, you're cracking into something called leverage, which is you're building assets that then make you
yeah.
money.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What I've noticed so far is like anything, there's more work at the beginning of this, figuring things out and getting the asset built and the ads and all that. But once that's done, you can pretty well, what I'm anticipating anyways, you can pretty much use that same information and create the next website, make some tweaks, and even that workload is significantly less, moving forward. So no, there's really nothing else like it. So I think that's, yeah, between that and the profit margins, this is a one of a kind business as far as I'm concerned, that I found anyways.
Yeah, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, is like if I find something that's better than this, I have no problems. I'll test it out, I'll try it out. If it's better, then I'm not emotionally attached to this business model. It's just the best one that I found. And
Yeah,
that's where I'm
that's
going to keep. I feel like that with many things. Maybe like I feel like that with religion. If I find something better
mhm.
than what I'm currently practicing, like I'll go. Or same with my diet, or I'm trying to make the best decisions. And right now, in 8 years of looking here, guys, I hear about business models all the time because people message me. I read about them. They pop up on my YouTube. What was the most recent one that I saw popping up all over the place, like an AI store something something. I don't know. And then there
Right.
was like TikTok
Yeah.
shops and like, dude, there's so many models, but none of them
Oh,
check as many boxes as this one does.
no, yeah, it's like a new trend or a new business model that pops up every 2 weeks about AI, this and that. And I'm sure there's some people that make money on it, but not too many realistically.
100%, man. So I have a question for you. What was your biggest what was your biggest doubt when you got into this model? Was it that other people had this, or you didn't have this thing, or like, you know what I mean when I say yeah, but everyone has their
Yeah.
objection. What was yours?
Like my biggest hang up of success. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying?
why when you got into it, like mine was I'm busy and I don't have a lot of time. Other people's I don't have sales experience. Other people I'm a woman or like just what was your
Yeah. Honestly, nothing really stood out. I guess it would have been probably the technical side of it would have been my yeah, but because I'm not a big computer type of guy, but my workaround to that was that I just have someone build the web page for me, right? Like, and kind of outsource it a little bit. Honestly, I signed up knowing that it does work and will work. Based on, to be honest with you, these review videos. I just knew that based on all the social proof you put out there, that as long as I'm willing to do the work, it will work. And little funny little story. I was thinking of this today actually. I used to listen to these in my car driving home from work, and just they're on YouTube, right? And I'd throw one in every couple of days and listen to it, and then here I am on one. So I thought that's kind of neat. I thought that was pretty cool.
came
So
full circle, bro? I love that.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Like seriously, I was listening to them, a couple of weeks for a month or two, and I was just like, well, wouldn't that be kind of cool? So full circle. That's it.
Yeah,
So
it's like that for I remember doing something similar and I would listen, to different it wasn't really case studies like this, but it was like people that were doing this. That was like the same people over and over. But I remember, and I might be a little bit prideful, but I remember just looking at these and going, dude, like as long as this person isn't lying, if that person can do it, I mean,
yeah,
clearly, like
exactly.
I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I'm as capable in that area or that
100%.
area. And so Yeah, these interviews, they should either motivate you or they should piss you off. I really hope it makes you frustrated when you look at me and you're like, dude, this guy can barely even speak and spell.
Yeah.
Talking about me, obviously, from raised in a farm in Utah, and he can make all this money, then obviously anybody can do it. That should have,
Well,
you know,
that's it. And it's hard to know who to trust, especially when it comes to online stuff too, right?
yeah,
And
100%.
I know you've been saying, what are other guys that are in this space teaching these courses? What do their bank accounts look like? So, even though it was interesting with what you were saying, what really got my attention, like I said, were the videos of people just like me preaching, that everything's good and they're having success. Because if you don't have that, I can stand in front of a camera and say whatever I want, and fingers crossed they'll believe me, right? So, yeah, no, that really helped. And yeah, exactly. If these people can do it, why can't I? I'm capable enough, so for sure.
It comes back to what I think I just said this in we have our weekly coaching call inside of our inner community inside Digital Landlords. And,
Yeah,
I've said this so many times because it just stuck with me, but the best marketing that you can do is to get your customer success, right?
for
It's not
sure.
it's not about a better website. It's not about having a fancy brand or t-shirts or sending out a Christmas package. All those things are important. But at the end of the day, if you will sit down and your number one priority is getting your business owner's success, that is the best marketing that you could do, bar none. And so for me, the reason that like obsess and spend so much time and have so many, admin and all these different things inside of our program is because I heard that and I was like, that is the key. Is if I focus on helping all of my students have success, the marketing's gonna work itself out, right? Just like you said, if it weren't for all those case studies, all the other people that had success, you wouldn't be here today, right?
Probably not.
That's
No.
it. So guys, take that as a lesson that's what I'm doing is I'm trying to focus on the customers that I have more than the customers that I don't have. And by focusing on the customers that you do have and taking care of them and making sure they have success and making sure they have an ROI and making sure they have a good experience, it's inevitable that you're going to get more clients. So it's like that weird thing when you chase the new business, it evades you, but when you focus on the business that you have, new business comes to you. So,
Customer retention is huge in any business, but specifically this one. I mean, you don't want to go chasing new customers for your websites every 3 months. If you position yourself where you're invaluable to them and you treat them well and it's a good deal, why would they leave you? Unless like legitimately they're going out of business, right? So if you ingrain
right.
yourself in their business, like you're set as far as I'm concerned.
And I totally agree with you. And it's so unique because this is a this is a business where we pay for ourselves, right?
Yeah,
I've sold other stuff, man. I sold home security systems. I sold software, all this different stuff. And most of the things that I sold, I was an expense, right? No matter how I wanted to, yeah, you're gonna have
yeah,
peace of mind. Yeah, you're gonna blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it was an expense.
sure.
And this is the only thing I've ever been able to sell where I can literally go, hey, this is what you're gonna put in. And even if the numbers are half of what we're hoping for, you're going to double your money. So not only do I pay for myself, this is like literally an investment that's going to pay returns to you. And so, man, it's compared to some of the other stuff I've sold. This is it's such a logical sale. It's such a logical sale. That's what I would say.
Well, yeah, and I see the other side of it too, because with my side business, like I'm pretty busy with that, and it is a business. So any real business owner in this industry, being a contractor, knows there's really only two ways to get business: referrals or basically new clientele. And there's some contractors out there that say they're referral only, but that's not the best way to do business, in my opinion. You need an influx of new leads, especially if it's a one and done type of service industry. You need that influx of leads. So if you're calling a contractor and saying, "Hey, you looking for work? You still need leads coming in." Of course, they're going to say yes. And then if the leads you give them are solid, why wouldn't they want to hear what you have to say at least, right? So now that there's some business owners out there and contractors that you can't convince them otherwise, but most contractors would know what you're saying, right? So yeah, so that's another reason why this business model is really good.
You know what I'm just thinking of? You know, I personally know when I was thinking about getting into rank and rent, and you just said it, like for me, seeing other people that were like me have success doing this was like what gave me the confidence to jump in, right? That's basically what you said. You listened to tons of case studies, tons of interviews, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Why are we not out there? This is just a thought. Like, why are we not out there and doing this exact same thing that I'm doing right now with our business owners? Why are you guys that are having success with your business owners, as soon as they land that first job, as soon as they have that first month, why are you not jumping on a freaking YouTube live and interviewing them and asking them a series of questions and asking them about their experience working with you and asking them about all these different things and putting it on YouTube? Imagine you had a
Mhm.
YouTube channel with 20 of these case studies. And every time you call the business owner, hey, I'm going to give you a couple free leads. By the way, here's my YouTube channel. Here's 20 case studies. How hard would it be to close?
No, be simple.
We
Well,
and
that's actually that's a good point. I think um, somebody you interviewed at one point or another mentioned something to the extent of that. Is that what, like we just said, or what I said, the social proof of your system is basically what sold me. So why couldn't I get a business owner to do a video or a little, or an interview or whatever, and exactly put it on a web page that they could check, and they've already seen these videos before I do my close sale with them. Like, social proof is the biggest selling factor really at all, whether that be reviews online or if there's a video review. Like
yeah.
that's what that's what sells.
Yeah, I'm only mentioning that as a complete thought of like it doesn't take that long, guys. And what's cool about videos
No,
like this, right? What's cool about, let's say you make a strategy and every business owner that you get that gets their first deal or has their first successful month, I would do it as soon as they landed their first deal because they're excited, they're motivated, whatever. I would interview them and then I would edit it or whatever, maybe not even edit it. I'd put it on a YouTube channel and I would just have a list of all these case studies. Um, but I'm just thinking about this, like when you do something like this, it's an asset, right? This video that we create right here, we're going to do this
yeah,
interview. I'm going to upload it to Vimeo. My videos guy is going to go and edit the front end, edit the back end. We're not going to edit in any of the middle because I don't really care. I'm going to put it on YouTube, and somebody's going to watch this interview in 3 years driving down the road, and they're going to probably apply and join my program because of this interview that I did today, right?
100%.
So
Yeah,
we always need to be thinking like how, whenever we're using our time, use it to create assets. That's it. That's the whole key. Is if you spent all day, every day, just creating assets, just planning how to do it, make another asset, get percent equity on an asset. That's how you get rich, is you have to build, own, create assets. That's the only way to get rich. You're not going to get rich, trading your time for dollars. And so again,
for sure.
this is an asset, man. So I'm telling you guys, I'm giving you guys the free strategy that I've been showing you guys for years. It works clearly. Why don't we all do it? It's not like you doing it takes away from me doing it. We could all do it and we could all have our 20 clients. Anyway,
We're not.
but no one will do it. That's the best part, is I'll give that strategy. No, I've been doing it. No one's doing it. So I
Well,
hope you do
that's
it,
better
John.
for me because I'm going to do
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna follow up with you. What was the
No,
yeah, just in a week I'm going to ask you where it's at. No, but you should, and what you should do is you should make sure that when the business owner gets that first deal that you interview them immediately, because you want to capture that energy, right? That's why I like, as soon as people get their first deal, I always message to like, yeah, let me wait till I get to 10K. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're gonna feel way more excited about that first dollar that comes in than the $10,000 a month, because this is like, it's the best feeling in the world that you just barely like basically had created magic, right? You were able to
Yeah,
think something in your head, build this stupid little website, write a few words, boom, 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 and now you're making passive income. It's like magic. And I want to capture that energy so people can feel it. So
100%.
to do the
Yeah.
same. Um, what was your biggest challenge? Not, I know what you thought your biggest challenge would be. You said it was like maybe the technical, whatever, but what was the biggest challenge once you got in and you started? And by the way, guys, for those that didn't know this, unless I'm mistaken, you've been only been in doing this for about 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
I think today is my 2 month mark.
Well,
So,
when you got the deal, it was about a month and a half in, though, right?
6 weeks. Yeah.
6 weeks. Okay, so
Yeah.
1.5 months
Dropped right
in,
in.
he got his first deal. So, what was your biggest challenge when you got started? I know what you thought it was going to be. Was it the same thing or was it something different?
Overall in that process, I would say my biggest challenge was keeping up with the program because everything was going so quick on my end. I know that sounds ridiculous, but um, your program has like video blocks and sections. And when I started this, I just started, went down the videos and did it kind of alongside, right? And once I got to the part of like put an ad up and then hit go, I had a little bit of time where I didn't do I didn't make a list of buyers, and like my phone was ringing right away. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. So honestly, it was going so quick. That was my challenge, just keeping up and kind of knowing like 3, 4 steps ahead of what I need to do and say, because I'm kind of caught like right now. I got to do this right now. So
What
good
did
problem.
well, yeah, it was a good problem. What did you think when your first call came in? Was it for I remember exactly where I was. I remember how it felt. What was it when that first call came in for you? Was it just like
Yeah. um, I did. It went to voicemail, to be honest, but I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, it actually, my phone just rang, right? And then I'm like, what do I do, right? So again, like, I didn't look at the scripts or anything, so it went to voicemail. He actually left a voicemail. I think I was at work, so I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it. And then yeah, I remember I was getting gas in my car, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta call this guy, and then just called him at a gas station basically, and yeah, so it was crazy. It was just like it actually worked. Like, this is amazing.
we see all these other people, it works for all these other people, and then for some reason we don't think it will work for us. And then when it does, I remember 2016 in Huntsville, Alabama on a Sunday, sitting in church. And I really don't work on Sundays. I try to separate business from God. Like I'm pretty weird. Like I like to do that. And
Sure.
dude, that call came in and I couldn't. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to get out. I went right in the hall immediately out of Sunday school. And I was like, no way, I got to lead. And I was like, I didn't know what to do either. I didn't have my process. I didn't have a list of
Yeah.
people. And and I just literally went to the first. I didn't call the right person. I went to the first person I saw. I'm like, oh, Google towing Huntsville, called the first person and patched it through. But guys, if you haven't experienced it, it's like you have magical powers when that first lead comes through. It's like the best feeling in the world. And then when you get the first deal, that's like the biggest high ever. It's incredible. So let's talk about
For
that really
sure.
quick. You got
Yeah.
ghosted twice
Yep.
in the same area.
Yep.
Tell us about that. What made you decide to keep going, and then how'd you get that deal on that third try?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Ghosted twice. So what happened was, is that leads started coming in. And like I said, I didn't really know who to give them to at that point. So kind of basically, made a list of a few contractors and called the first one, like the first one that answered the phone. Basically, I'm like you just said, I'm like, I need to link this up and talked with the guy. And honestly, um, hooked him right away. He was into it, and sent him some leads over I think a week or so, and um, he was into it 100%. I'm like, I'm gonna hook this guy for sure. Like, this is a done deal. But I think with my personal schedule, so I learned a couple of things from it, but I set the Zoom close kind of later in the week, so I think he was hot then, but it cooled down a bit. And then I found out he had a business partner, which he didn't tell me about, that I think dealt with kind of more of the SEO online ads. So my guess is that's kind of what did it. And then yeah, just one day, just ghosted, gone. So then I'm like, oh my God, now what? Right. The ghosting part didn't really phase me too much. I wasn't happy about it, but this is more money and ads and all the rest, right? So I'm like, okay, just stay the course. So then the next lead came in, basically found another business owner, and I'm like, okay, gave him a couple new leads, gave him an old lead from the other guy who didn't follow up on, and then same thing. He's like, oh yeah, my wife's a is the part business owner. I'm like, so I think having a business partner, I should say, um, that might have been the fault falling out for that. And then he ghosted me when I mentioned the Zoom close. So then after that, I'm like, I don't know what to do, right? Like Nick doesn't talk about this or that I've seen the videos on, and I'm messaging Fix It Felix. He's like, I just stayed the course. So honestly, so when this was like Friday, a weed came in and it was a pretty good weed. But I'm like, okay, like how much money can I spend on these ads in this area before I pull the pin? So I'm like, okay, this is a pretty solid lead. I'm going to turn ads off and whatever happens, happens. Right. And on Monday, because it was a commercial job that came in. So he wasn't in on the weekend. So I'm like, Monday, I called a new guy and I switched the script a little bit. I went super direct with him. And I'm like, hey, like I have this website, I'm getting leads. I just had to fire a contractor. He's not holding his end of the bargain. I got these two leads. Do you want to have a chat over Zoom tonight with it? He's like, I'm like, we can do that tonight, or I'll call someone else. What do you want to do? And he was like, yeah, I'm interested. Let's talk. So basically, we talked and did the whole like hour long speech and all that. And he was into it, but he didn't like my price. And he's like, you just called me today. You know, anybody know who you are? Can you give me a couple leads? Right. So there's a leads in advance. So I'm like, okay, I got a couple leads, gave him two. And then he's like, okay, we'll see. I could hear the hesitation in his voice. And I'm like, okay, see what happens. So then he calls me back basically the same time tomorrow, or sorry, the day after. And the tone of his voice was completely different. And he was like, yeah, these are real leads. It's legit. He's like, I'm interested, but the price is an issue. So then again, I'm like, okay, like what do I do here? Do I fight him on price and bill and basically start from scratch, or basically we did a 3-month trial and he was happy with it, so we did $500 a month for 3-month trial. We're about to be about 700 Canadian, so not as bad.
Yeah.
And so far he's good. So got the website up, got a verified Google My Business profile, and just sent it all to Search Console this morning. So we'll see. Hopefully, I can get them number one and get those phone calls in and jack up the price a little bit if I can. But I just wanted my first deal at this point, so I'm happy with it. So yeah,
I would say, by the way, I love that you didn't stop. And I've said, like, you don't lose money. You're sitting there and you're spending money on ads and you're spending time. You actually don't lose money until you give up on the area, right? It's just like the stock
yeah,
market. You go in, you buy it at $40 a share and it goes to half and you're like, I lost all this money. No, you didn't until you sell, right? But if you
exactly,
wait another year and it goes back to 40 or back up to 50, then you not only lost money, but you made money. So I look at an area the same way. If I spend $300 on ads and I stop, then okay, I just lost $300. But if I spend 300, but maybe I got to get to 500 to get that one or two more closes. As soon as I get that deal, they pay me $1,500. I just made all my money back plus some. I never lost. So
exactly.
and not to be confused with if you're in a bad area and it's not going to work. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you don't lose until you quit. Okay.
That was the exact mindset I had, because I'm like, the area is obviously good. I'm getting phone calls. I'm like, it's realistically probably my approach maybe a little bit because I'm new. So that's kind of what kept me in it. And to be honest with you, after I had that conversation with him, I turned the eyes back on and I'm like, I can't give up. So um, I think the knee jerk reaction is, for a lot of people just give up. Um, but like you said, then you're done. Right. But if you keep at it, then you have a chance of making it work. So yeah, so no, it worked out pretty well. And hopefully it turns into something long term with this guy and then just keep watch and repeat.
100%. And one piece of advice. So this could have just been like a fluke, but and this is what I would tell you if we were just talking one on one. So I want everyone to hear this. But if you're getting the same thing over and over, then typically I would look at the step before, right? So if you're getting ghosted, then I would look at like what are you saying on the prospecting call? And so my guess, you may be saying something or not saying something that's throwing them off. So sometimes what I see happen is people they share too much information on the prospecting call. And
Yeah,
as you know, on that prospecting call, we're not trying to sell them on anything. We're trying to just get them to agree to just talk. Just let's, make it super nonchalant. Yeah, look, let's just do this. I'll give you a couple free leads. Let's hop on a Zoom call. I'll show you what I'm doing. If we can make it work, great. If not, no big deal. Pressure's off, right? Sometimes we get so excited. We're like, okay, well, are you ready for the Zoom call now? And they feel like this immense pressure. Like if they get on that call, they're going to be forced to buy. I don't know if you're doing that. I wasn't on your calls, but if you
for
got that
sure.
twice, what I would start doing, guys, record everything. I would record my prospecting calls, my sales calls, my everything, so you can go back and study it like game film. But my guess is there's either something that you're saying or something that you're leaving out and not saying that is causing people to just hesitate just a little bit. So what I would do is I mean, you got the deal. Great job. But if you keep getting that, then that's going to be
Yeah,
a thing. And it could have
adjust.
also
Yeah,
been a fluke, but just to keep that in mind. The other thing is, um, I agree with you. If some people sit there and go, "Oh, it's only 500 bucks or 700 Canadian." Dude, that's a great deal. Think about it compared to, you know what it would cost you? You know how much money you'd have to put into a piece of real estate right now to make $500 right now?
yeah, a lot.
To put hundreds of thousands of dollars down if you could find a deal, and you'd be on the hook for 30 years, and you'd have the liability, and you'd have the insurance, and you'd have all these different things. And it's crazy. So we look at these deals that are 1,500 and we're like, that's great. Dude, 500 is awesome, man. I've never said no to $100 that somebody handed me.
Exactly. And my mentality too was, I'm new at this. I'm having conversations I haven't had with people before. So you got to put the reps in and get used to kind of the talk and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I probably did say something they didn't like, but once I start hammering out more deals, like you can almost have the same conversation with each business owner. And if it works for one guy, it should work for another. So I just wanted to get yeah, although yeah, I am excited about it, but I just wanted to get my feet wet, have some success, and then just do the reps and the price. Uh, I don't even care about that. I just want the success and to officially be doing it and having those conversations, right?
No,
So
and I would argue like you probably would could have got the deal without even budging on price, because at the end of the day,
yeah,
if you went in with the mindset of, look, I have something this guy needs. He has money, which I want, but everyone else has money. Like that whole mentality of we have more than like we offer more than they do, which is 100% true. You probably wouldn't have had to budge on price. However, it's your first deal, and I would just tell you like I don't think it's the wrong move because getting the first deal is the hardest deal. And once you get the first one, you can prove to yourself that you can do it,
exactly.
and then you can take the momentum to get the next one and the next one, next one. So I'm not mad at
Yeah,
all that you did
it
that.
changes your mindset a bit.
Now the next one you go into, you're like, okay, I already got the first deal, and you got to go into the next one willing to walk away. You got to go to
Yeah,
the next one and say, this is my price, and I will say no if I need to because I don't need you as much as you need me, and I know that, and you can tell that I know that. And so once you get that confidence, they can complain about price. You could say 1,500, that's too expensive. What do you mean it's too expensive? Aren't you charging 2,000 bucks minimum for your jobs? It's one job, dude. What do you mean too expensive? Like, and you
Exactly.
say it with that
Yeah.
tone. So, but I do want to tell you, I'd rather you get the deal than lose the deal. It's your first one, you got it. It's the hardest one, and now it's just you parlay that one into the second one, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and you'll probably look back and go, dude, I should have got that guy for 2 grand.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. No, I'm already thinking that. But I think maybe where I fell flat with the first two people, I didn't
fine,
have
confidence.
the de- yeah, the confidence, the demeanor of that, right? And maybe they picked up on that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You can't get a grand slam the first time you swing a baseball bat. So, you got to put the reps in, right?
The most important thing you could do right now is treat this client like they're paying you $50,000 a month, like they're
Yeah.
your only client, which they are, like they are everything to you, which they are. Because if you can crush it for this client, you're going to retain that $500. Obviously, when you turn off your ads, you're going to be making more of a profit. And then you're going to use that as a case study. And then you're going to be able to get that, leverage that into the next. This client, taking care of this client is your number one priority. It's like when I started Digital Landlords, I remember when we launched the program, I remember thinking, I didn't know who would buy it. I thought, even if I just get one person, I am going to make sure that person crushes it because everything depends on that one person. We had way more than one person buy it, but we had so much success with that first group of students. That was the reason that it took off. So just take care of that client, treat that client like it's your one and only, which it is. They don't need to know that, and
Yeah.
it'll snowball into the next and the next and the next, man.
Yeah, man. That's the plan. No, I'm pretty excited, and the course is amazing. So
Well,
I love it.
thanks for hopping on, man. I appreciate it. It's cool to see things go full circle from listening to the interviews to being on one, bro. I'm excited. Once you get to the 10K mark, let's get you back on.
Yeah,
Hey, bro.
absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
See ya.